Okay, well, I went to the store, listened to the radio on the way in, NPR, because that's what I've been listening to. This car doesn't have the stations that I like. Anyway, so I'm listening to regular radio, and I listen to NPR pretty constantly when I'm in this particular car. And I will say from the start, NPR is biased, and if they want to complain about how they are throwing biased information to uh, their viewership, then I can tell you from listening to them and I can give you I can give you my critique. So my critique is thus: about 40%, I would say, of the stories are interesting, maybe 30% on a educational level. One lady was telling about how she was a chef here in the United States, in a Vietnamese restaurant, and she's Vietnamese. She goes back to her country and experiences like a whole day of feasting in a house. People are eating upstairs, downstairs, and it was interesting, and a lot of things of it. Penguin, all kinds of things. 40%, 30%. The other 60 or 70% is our stories mostly that are biased towards Democratic leanings. I just listened to a story today. I didn't listen to the whole thing, but I listened to as much as I could. And basically was about a high school girls going to some kind of a contest, a beauty contest, with at the same time when Roe v. Wade was overturned. And like one of the girls was saying something about, I didn't know how to feel about this, but I know all these women die during childbirth or something. And I looked up the numbers, and there's like in the United States. There's like 3,600,000. It was either pregnancies or births. I'm not sure which it was. And out of that, 800 people died. Now, obviously, that's terrible, and we want to do as best we can. But I mean, if you look at the numbers, things. If you take numbers of anything, some people are going to do well, some people are not going to do well. Some people in some activities are going to die. When you drive, some people are going to die. Every day, people are going to die. It's really just as I've said before. It's math. Not that it's good. It's life. It's what it is to be human. People get sick. People die. People have joy. People have crying. People are sad. It's just the way life is. And that was one thing that I noticed. And she goes, so many people die. And I said, well, how many people actually do die in this country of 360 or 70, 30 million, whatever it is, 330. So that was one thing. Another thing, at one point, some girl was crying, and then another girl said, oh, I was just drawn up into it, and then I started crying, and I couldn't stop crying. Well, so her emotions is why she's pro or con. She's thinking, this girl's crying, she's upset, I want to comfort her. Fine, but you're not looking at the facts of the situation. Oh, and another thing, they said, oh, they were bashing on, I think this was the same story, they were bashing on the Supreme Court. And what did they say? I forgot about this. They said something like, the Supreme Court, it wasn't this, or it may have been this, the Supreme Court is going to do whatever it wants to do, and we can't do anything about it, or something like that. They're going to do whatever they feel. But they're going to do whatever the law says. That's what the courts do, young lady. If I'm not mistaken, they're going to interpret the law, and then they're going to make a vote and decide they're going to come to a consensus of how they agree or disagree on this matter, and the majority is going to win that. So they're not sitting there going, oh, this is sad, or oh, this is this. They're looking at what's legalities. They're looking at the law, and they're determining what's legal. And that's what the decision was made, that making abortion legal by the federal government was not legal in the first place, and that it was a matter of the states. So, they're demonizing the Supreme Court and saying and making it sound like they do whatever they want, like, oh, these terrible conservatives wanted this, so they're just gonna do it. Well, no, they're gonna interpret the law and do what the law calls them to do. That's what the court does. Interprets the law and makes a decision based on that, on the laws that we have. Was another thing. And so, yeah, and I listened to this story, and I'm going, okay, and they showed the other side, and the girls from the view that abortion is wrong. Let's see, what were their point? They said, their argument was, I mean, while I feel they're right, one girl said she was adopted, and if her parents, which I was adopted, and if our parents had decided to choose abortion, then we wouldn't be here. But she said something else that kind of, it wasn't really a strong argument, and I thought, well, maybe the girl didn't have anything better to add to the reasoning why it's wrong to kill human life, innocent human beings in the womb. But anyway, it seemed like they could have given the arguments here and the arguments pro and con, good qualified arguments on both sides, and then let us decide. Instead, the reasoning for the against abortion, I felt like they could have done a better job with their argument. So that also. So again, NPR is biased, and I can tell you this because I listen to NPR, because I don't know how many. I couldn't tell you a feature that I heard that was pro-conservative views. It's very. I can't even think of a time when I was sitting there going, "Oh, cool. Listen, how about?" Because when they were doing this abortion thing, I went, "Okay," and then they go, and then the girls on the other side of the room, and they started like, "Okay, they're gonna give the other side," but it was a weak other side. I mean, they could have done better, but the article definitely skewed towards the pro-abortion side. So, yeah, that's why I think that they're biased. And if they're supposed to report the news or supposed to report information, then give the information. If you are a editorial, and maybe they are, I don't know, but if they're editorial, then there should be an NPR conservative, and just call yourself NPR Democrat for the one that we have existing now, and then NPR conservative, or I don't know if it would be Republican. It's not exactly the same. Yeah, so that people can, or NPR, well, you can't say pro and con. Anyway, NPR, biased, definitely. Don't cry, don't say you're not. I can tell you, I've listened, and you're biased. You are biased. I have a lot of sources. I listen to conservative sources. I read the Washington Post. So if anyone knows the Washington Post, you know that I get plenty of liberal Democrat leaning information, and I take it for what it is. I take the news part and I read the editorials. Again, in the editorials, there's like 3 conservative writers, ballpark, and like 8 or 10 liberal writers in the editorial pages. So, that's not exactly a fair reportage either. So, anyway, and please forgive the shirt. This was the shirt. I have a pile of t-shirts, and this one was up on deck next, and so it was this black is slimming, right? The other option would have been a gray, which would have just made me look fatter than I already am. Okay, so let's pray for this country. Let's ask the Holy Spirit to please come. This is Pentecost today. So come, Holy Spirit, come. Fill the hearts of your faithful and kindle in them the fire of your love. Send forth your Spirit, and they shall be created, and and you shall renew the face of the earth. Let's renew the face of the United States to Catholicism.